Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Cronkite Show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of the WarZone. Get on the phone and call somebody and tell them the realest in the business is in here. I am the 5-star general. You got some HISD trustees that don't want to make these schools safe from active shooters. I told y'all they were dumb. Let's talk about it, man. Say, man, I want to welcome you to another episode of the WarZone and tell you thank you for taking the time out to tune in. You know, without you guys, I would not have a show because without you, I can't do anything. So what I want to do is right now, I want to fix my privacy settings. Let's go in real quick. Let's set our privacy the way it needs to be. And then we're going to get to this thing, all right? We got our privacy up. And now we are done. Okay. Want to say top of the afternoon to you, man. I came in earlier with a hood CNN, but now I'm back with a WarZone, and I think you need to push the share button on your video because I'm going to be real animated, but you see the sign on the screen. Parental advisory, explicit lyrics. That means I'm going to curse. So if you don't like cursing, this is probably not the show that you need to watch because I'm going to keep it 100 at all times. Now there's a pandemic that is going around, and it's called school shootings. And this has been going on for about the last 15, 20 years, realistically. Every time you look up, some school is being invaded and a bunch of babies are being killed for no apparent reason. And right now, the country is scrambling. Lawmakers are scrambling. School administrations are scrambling, trying to figure out ways to make schools safer. Down here in Houston, Texas, we normally have a bunch of idiots making decisions. And that is no different than right now. You have at least 2 school board representatives that I know of that seem to have a problem with making sure that the HISD Police Department is prepared to deal with an active shooter if something happens on one of our school campus, God forbids. And those 2 trustees are Danny Hernandez and Judith Cruz. I told y'all they got to go. I told you they think they're smarter than everybody else. And they constantly want to make decisions that make no sense whatsoever. And to even think that, it is crazy to even think that it is what it is. Hold on a second, you guys. I got to send a text. To even think that. But let me show you what I see, what I came across, and then you can make your judgment from there. All right? Let's go in and let's start this.
School Superintendent Miller House II says the school board could approve several safety-related measures next week.
That comes after House said last night that district police officers are not prepared to stop an active shooter.
Adam Bennett joining us live in East Houston.
Adam, the district police chief blames a lack of equipment.
That's right, Mia, and specifically rifles, rifle ammunition, and ballistic shields. And now the board, they are considering buying enough of those things to equip each of their roughly 200 district police officers. Superintendent House, as well as District Police Chief Pedro Lopez, made those comments during an agenda review meeting last night. House says the district took a fresh look at their preparedness level after the Uvalde shooting. The chief says having the right gear would allow officers to train more realistically for an active shooter. Mayor Sylvester Turner said this morning he was planning to call Superintendent House today.
Where HISD or any other school district may fall short, I've talked to Chief Fenner. We'll step in and augment their resources.
Mayor Turner is also calling for help from state lawmakers. He wants them to repeal the permitless carry law and raise the age to buy a gun from 18 to 21. We requested interviews with the superintendent and the police chief today at HISD. They were not available, but we're told that there will be a school safety media availability happening next week. Lena, Mia?
Adam Bennett tonight. Thank you.
So the superintendent feels, as well as Chief Lopez from the Houston Independent School District Police Department, that they don't have the adequate equipment to deal with an active shooter. Now, I will say that for many years that the HISD Police Department has not had the proper equipment, the proper technology, and they've been fighting for years to get this stuff. So this is not like they're asking for this on a whim. They've been asking for the proper technology, the proper, stuff that they need to work with. Now, some things I don't agree with, but I think the superintendent has stepped up to say we want to make these schools safe, and it's a good reason as to why he cares about all the kids. But at the same time, he has children that are in this school district. And like I say, God forbids anything happens on the campuses that could endanger his children or any one of our kids. So I think he's taken a bold step, the right step, to try and get this done. Now, I want to show you an article. Let's go in here. Let's share screen. And I'm gonna show you an article that I found on this. And let's share the screen. Let's make sure we can get it up. Okay, so now you have the screen up. And let's go through this article. HISD Police Department is requesting 200 rifles, 200 ballistic plate shields, and rifle ammunition in order to more adequately train for an active shooter response. And this is the superintendent saying that he doesn't feel that we can adequately protect these children if something happens. So it basically says less than 3 weeks before the start of the new school year, the leader of Texas' largest school district said its police department is not prepared to adequately respond to an active shooter scenario like the one that claimed the lives of 19 children and 2 teachers earlier this year in Uvalde. HISD Superintendent Millerhouse II addressed the preparedness level of the HISD Police Department while discussing proposed expenditures of more than $100,000 for rifles, ammunitions, and ballistic plate shields during Thursday night's agenda review meeting of HISD Board of Trustees. The board is expected to vote on the proposed purchases at next week's meeting. Right now, as we've studied the Uvalde scenario and looked at what preparation and the proper preparation that needs to be in place, our officers would not have been prepared for what that looks like. So they basically, if something was to happen, he feels they're not ready. Upwards of 200,000 students attend HISD, which employs about 200 police officers, and the 2022-23 school year is scheduled to start August 22nd, with teachers reporting tomorrow. Teachers go back tomorrow. Trustee Danny Hernandez asked if the desire to fortify the Houston HISD Police Department is based on research or our feelings. Also wondering if the expenditure request was in response to community input. Trustee Judith Cruz said she also had concerns about the proposed purchase, saying the board has adopted a policy to not consider approving items that perpetuate disproportionate discipline. I'm going to stop right there because I want to touch on this. Where the hell y'all find these people at, man? Well, let me go back to that because I really want to go back to it. Danny Hernandez asked if the desire to fortify the Houston Police Department is based on research or our feelings. Now, y'all got to really understand, Danny Hernandez is a very educated woman. She just popped up out of a goddamn Jack in the Box about 2 years ago and ended up on the board. Is this about our feelings? No, this is about protecting our children. This is about protecting our children. Why would you even say something like that? But let's finish looking at a quote. Was also wondering if the expenditure request was in response to community input. Duh, which way did it go? What you think? What the hell do you think? See, the problem is Danny Hernandez and Judith Cruz, they only want to represent the Latino community. Let's put that out there. But Latino babies need to be protected in case somebody starts shooting in our schools too. But you haven't talked to your community. So you want to ask if this is about community input? You goddamn right it's about community input. Where y'all get this Einstein from? And as far as Judith Cruz goes, the board has adopted a policy to not consider approving items that perpetuate disproportionate discipline. What the fuck do discipline got to do with protecting our kids? These are the same two people that want to take cops off of our school campuses. I need you to hear what I just said. These same two people that are bucking want to take cops off of our school campuses. $100,000 is what they need to upgrade their equipment. But you're about to vote next Thursday on spending $8 million on cheerleader uniforms. So can you bury them in that cheer uniforms? So you would spend $8 million on cheer uniforms, but wouldn't spend $100,000. You never questioned the cheer uniforms, but you're questioning protecting our children for $100,000. $8 million for cheer uniforms, $100,000 to protect our children. Let's go back in. All right, let's go back in. Let's open this thing up. Let me see what I got to do. Okay, so here we go. Let's open this thing back up. Let's keep reading. According to Chief Lopez, HISD Police Chief Pedro Lopez said a lack of training and preparedness led to those officers wait more than an hour until they confronted the shooter. He said his plan is to use 200 rifles and 200 ballistic plate shields being requested initially for training purposes and then for deployment in the event of an active shooter scenario on HISD campus. We train every year in active shooter training, but in order to become better and be better prepared, to provide an adequate response, you need actual scenario-based training with live fire, with shields. You need to learn how to maneuver those doors, how to overcome a breach in those doors. We don't have the equipment in order to do that. He's being honest. HISD has not solicited the input of students, family, or community at large regarding the necessity to more heavily arm the district police officers, according to House Trustee Kathy Buford Daniel says she's met with parents at Garcia Middle School in June, shortly after the May 24th massacre in Uvalde. The first, foremost important thing they asked not long after Uvalde was how safe are their children going to be? So not only do we have a concern ourselves with our children, but we have a concern with the staffs in the schools. We want to keep that to the forefront. HISD released a statement from House on Friday in which he expanded on his remarks at the school board meeting. He said several district campuses received upgrades this summer to their fencing, cameras, video storage capacity. Elementary schools in HISD are assigned patrol units that monitor these campuses throughout the day. House said while HISD police department staffs each high school and middle school with a school resource officer. As an HISD parent myself, the safety and security of our students and staff is my highest priority. Our officers need the proper training and equipment so the district is prepared for a worst case scenario. As I shared at the most recent board meeting, our current assessment is HISD PD needs additional equipment and resources to ensure they are prepared to respond just in that kind of situation. That is why we put forward safety-related items before the board for approval on next week's agenda. Let me put up what my friend Terry put up. Terry says, so they're going to spend $8 million on cheerleading uniforms, but we're about to start the football season with not enough football helmets. Exactly. There is a problem with prioritizing what needs to be done in the Houston Independent School District. Yeah, we have tons of football teams, high school, middle schools, that don't have enough helmets. But you're going to spend $8 million on cheer uniforms that probably will not be worn this football season, but you don't have enough football helmets for the football teams that start full-blown practices come tomorrow. But you would spend $8 million on cheer uniforms, but you bucket on $100,000 to give upgrades to the police department to protect our children. It was nice of Sylvester Turner to say that the city would step in and fill the gap with money. You ain't got to do that, Mr. Mayor. These people got billions of dollars over there at West 18th Street. The superintendent not bucking on spending the money. It's that stank-ass board, man. And more importantly, y'all hold on a second. I got to see if I can get this fuzz up out of here. Hold on. Let me see if I can get this fuzz up out of here. There we go. You got this stank-ass board with a couple of board members. Let's get that straight. Not all of them board members feel this way. Some of them want to make sure our children are safe. Judith Cruz and Danny Hernandez, y'all ain't got to worry about them. We taking care of them in the next election. I don't give a damn how much money you spend on your campaign. You ain't getting no black votes, and you can't win either one of those elections without black votes. That's not going to happen. So you ain't in the habit of protecting black children anyway. See, here's the problem, and I need you to think that when you love something, you protect it. Dr. Abdul Halim Muhammad taught me that. When you love something, you protect it. Judith Cruz and Danny Hernandez don't love nobody but they goddamn self. To even think that you would go buy some goddamn cheer uniforms. And to my knowledge, unless we've been just doing this in the black schools, parents normally play for cheer uniforms. So now all of a sudden we got to take $8 million to buy something that the parents been paying for. I don't really know how that goes, but I know in the black schools, they've been buying dance uniforms and cheer uniforms for the last 30 years. Maybe y'all been buying it out y'all budgets that y'all have that are way bigger at the affluent schools than the black schools, but this is not a black or white issue. This is about some idiotic school board trustees who don't understand the need of making sure that our campuses are safe, because it's far more than just children on those campuses. There are grown people, there are teachers, there are paraprofessionals, there are administrators, there are custodians, cafeteria workers, there are coaches, and you worrying about some fucking cheer uniforms? You really? What? You can't make this shit up. Man, you can't even make this shit up. The superintendent finally makes a decision that old 5-star agrees with, which I know the HISD Police Department has not had the equipment forever. They've not had it. forever. And you got these two idiots. Judith, you're talking about disproportionate discipline. You so goddamn scared that them people that's giving you that campaign money, that want you, one, to keep indoctrinating our kids. Yeah. To keep the porn on the shelf. Yeah. To get the police off our school campuses. All these big ass, these Teach for Americas and all this shit that's pouring money into your campaign. You're so afraid that you're going to lose that money that you would sacrifice our children? For real? This is why you guys need to pay attention to the school system, because we got the wrong motherfuckers making decisions for our children. Judith Cruz and Danny Hernandez need to go the fuck away. You're trash. Your decision-making ability is trash. Everything about you is trash. The rest of you trustees need to pass this and get them guys what they need, man. Get them guys. If something happens and them people need to get into a school tomorrow, they don't have what they need. I need you to understand that. Teachers go back to school tomorrow. And if them guys can't get in there to save them, you got another Uvalde on your hand with these smart-ass trustees that's on this bullshit. Judith Cruz and Danny Hernandez been on bullshit from day one. You've been on bullshit since the day you showed up. You're trash, and I'm not taking it back. So what you gonna do, Madam President? You gonna cut my microphone off again? Fuck you. And that's how I feel about it. But I expect that from Judith Cruz and Danny Hernandez. I ain't worried about Kathy Buford Daniels, because if you know her story, she's into protecting kids. I ain't worried about it from Myrna Gidry, because she wants to make sure our kids are safe. I ain't worried about it from Bridget Wade at all. And I'm not going to name all the trustees, but I mean, I'm not concerned with it from some of them. But these two, they need to go. Right now, we should be doing everything in our power to make sure that our schools are safe on a daily basis. And to take that step, it's no getting around this if you guys don't give those guys what they need. And I know one thing about Chief Lopez from the Houston Independent School District Police Department. He knows what he's doing. And he's never going to ask for something that he realistically does not need. And if we don't agree with it, he'll explain to us why. But to say that if something happens, he does not have the equipment, and the superintendent agrees with him that we don't have the equipment, and shit, it's a no-brainer. Janelle Dunn say, I'm here, OG. HISD needs to be broken up into 4 separate school districts. I really think that HISD is too big. We have the wrong people. You don't need a racist like Judith Cruz and Danny Hernandez making decisions for black kids. We thought we got rid of the racists on the school board. But these folks here are ridiculous. Now they come out and they play well in front of people. But in closed session, these some racists, man. Them people don't give a damn about white kids. They don't give a damn about black children. I'm telling you what I know. Now you go suck up to them if you want. But it'll be your little dead child in the school if it's left up to them. And I agree with you, Terry. Let me put Terry's comment up. Terry Hayes says, as many mass shootings that we've had in the past 3 years, you would have thought that HISD would have had the intelligence to be better prepared. And I totally agree. But it's like every time the police department needs something, they won't give it to them. That's why their technology is so outdated. They don't have modern day technology across the board. Not at all. Not at all. I've been battling that for like the last 9 or 10 years, just trying to help them. When you teachers are getting raises, a lot of times the cops don't get nothing. And as many days those police officers let your children make it, when their asses should be going to jail. They will mentor the kid before they take them to jail. I've seen it with my own eyes. But I don't understand how anybody would not want to make a school safe at this point. I don't understand how any trustee would want to prolong the conversation on school safety when in less than 2 weeks, our kids got to go back in them buildings. Don't worry about Judith Cruz and Danny Hernandez. Your ass is coming out them seats. And they sitting there, oh, we're not worried about him. You should be, motherfucker. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the last 2 people sat in that seat felt my goddamn pain on election night. And when I tell my people don't vote for you, you ain't nothing you gonna say gonna trump me. So, ma'am, enjoy your last fucking year, but you coming up out of there next year. Your motherfucking ass going somewhere. I'm telling you straight up what's gonna happen. I'm not sugarcoating it. It ain't nothing you can do at this point. We don't want your stinking ass over our children because you're racist. I said it, and I mean what I say. I don't want to hear nothing about political affiliations when it comes to school safety. I don't want to hear shit about no color. Every single child and every individual needs to be protected on these school campuses. And anybody that's bucking right now, you're going to get your stinking ass up out of office. Take your ass back where you came from. But don't worry about it. I'm going to send you back where you came from. I'm telling you what's going to happen to y'all. So you can cut the microphones off, do all that funny shit you've been doing for the last 2 years. You can do all that shit that you've been doing for the last 2 years. But next year, Judith Cruz and Danny Hernandez gonna get their motherfucking ass up out of our school district. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. You will be voted out, and it won't even be fucking close. It will not even be fucking close. But see, you ain't got no problem with our children not being protected. When I say ours, that's all of them. You don't have a problem with our children not being protected as long as you got 15, 20 cops in the boardroom to protect your stinking ass. Say it's a reason I'm the best in the business every night on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. They come get the great ones. You know who I am, man. Get on the phone and call your people and tell them I am the 5-star general. 8 million for some stinking ass chill uniforms, and you bucking on 100,000 to make sure our kids are safe in the school district. But yet you got 15 officers at least at a school board meeting every month. Fuck you. Until tomorrow.